It is finally October, it is cold, summer anime is over, and we're in full swing for the stacked fall anime lineup. And summer was also very stacked. I definitely did not, once again, get through anything. 2022 is definitely the year where so many video games and so many anime are all coming out at the same time, I think because of delays that happened in 2020, so it's a lot to handle right now. But I still managed to watch several anime that came out in the summer, and here's my top 5. Don't worry, I won't be mentioning any spoilers for any of the series. I actually do have an honorable mention this time, and it goes to Cyberpunk Edgerunners. This was a huge anime for a lot of people this summer, and to be honest, I totally forgot that it was happening until it released. Like, all 10 episodes released on Netflix at the same time, as Netflix likes to do. I'm a really big fan of Cyberpunk as an aesthetic, as a genre. Never played the game before. And I'm also a really big fan of Studio Trigger. Like, almost just about everything I've watched from Studio Trigger, I've really loved. So the setup for everything happening in this anime would have me thinking that it would probably be my favorite of the season, but it really just gets an honorable mention because I could write a whole video essay about this probably. There was something so jarring about watching Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It was something about the mix of Cyberpunk as a genre, this very dark, serious genre mixed with the goofiness of Trigger animation and just the Trigger style of characters. And it was something that I did get used to, but the first couple of episodes I really wasn't feeling the show at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, the animation is amazing, and I watched it in English. The English voice cast was so good, the acting was so great, just the music, the soundtrack, probably one of the best in the season, and honestly probably one of my favorite anime soundtracks. It's really good. So don't get me wrong, like, definitely a lot of good things in this show. You can just see a lot of the clashes between the Western influence on the show and like Japanese influence on the show, and I think it just took me a little bit to get used to. But then the show ends at episode 10, and it really left me not feeling much at all. It's just such an okay series. Like, it has really high highs and really low lows that just make it kind of mid for me. But I will never ever bash its music. Its soundtrack and the voice acting was really good, but everything else I could probably take or leave. Moving on to the actual list, number 5 is an anime called Teppen. Oh, Teppen, you're hard to recommend to people, and I hope this doesn't come off as like elitist or anything, but Teppen is really one of those shows that has a lot of Japanese jokes in it that some people might not find it enjoyable. And what I mean is the whole show is based off of these individual comedy groups from all over Japan as they kind of battle against each other in this comedy competition. So for example, one of the groups in the show is from Ibaraki Prefecture, the prefecture that I live in. So a lot of the jokes in the show and the jokes that they make are Ibaraki jokes, like jokes about food in Ibaraki, jokes about Mito, the capital of Ibaraki. And I know for a fact that if I didn't live in Ibaraki, if I was still living in Miyagi Prefecture, I definitely would not understand all of the Ibaraki jokes. There's also a comedy group in the anime that's from Hokkaido, so a lot of Hokkaido jokes are thrown in there. So it's just a very inside jokey anime. It's very similar to Joshiraku, that has a lot of like jokes about Japanese politics, or Yatogame-chan, which is a whole show that makes fun of Nagoya Prefecture, or Nagoya City and Aichi Prefecture in Japan. I was thrilled every time that there were some Ibaraki jokes that I understood, living in Ibaraki myself. But I totally get it if someone watches this show and they're just completely lost. Like, it's totally understandable, but for me, it was so worth getting through some of the comedic parts that I maybe didn't understand about Japan just to get to the parts that I did. This show made me laugh out loud so much. If you're really into shows like Joshiraku or Yatogame-chan, shows that like make fun of other prefectures and bring in like Japanese food jokes, and this could be for you, but I think that's gonna be a really small group of people outside of Japan. Nothing super special about it as far as music and animation. You just watch it for the inside jokes. Number 4 is the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. Now, I had dived into the manga just a little bit, and then I totally forgot the anime was coming out for it. So I knew what to expect going in. The show is even more charming than you would expect it to be. It follows this Yakuza member named Kirishima, and he gets really close to messing up a treaty between two families, and so he is actually now having to watch his boss's like 7-year-old daughter. And you would think that this man, as a member of the Yakuza, as someone who deals with violence all the time, you would think that he would not know what to do with a 7-year-old, like not how to watch after her, but like he knows what he's doing. That's the greatest part about this show, is it's not like learning how to relate to this girl or learning how to like take care of a kid. It's just that he's really good at it, and the 7-year-old Yaika really warms up to him. And throughout the show, you kind of find out like, why isn't there a mother in the picture here? Why is she not getting maybe so much attention from her father as well? The show can be a little bit jarring because there's a lot of very, very comedic moments. I would say mostly it's a comedy, but then throws in these more serious moments as well. I wouldn't say it's super special as far as animation, but I do like the character designs, the eyes specifically. The character style is really, really good. As far as I know, the manga keeps going, so hopefully we'll see more of this anime too. Number 3 on the list is Summertime Render, and I knew when I went into this one that it was going to be on the list because it is so rare these days that we get like a true horror anime. I mean, we get anime that's violent and has like scarier themes or something, but it's completely different when we get an anime that, you know, really just makes you shake in your seat or gives you bad dreams or something. Like, I was talking about Summertime Render to my friend. She's like, yeah, that should give me nightmares. It's not every day we get an anime that gives me nightmares. Like, when I think of horror anime, Higurashi really comes to my mind. And maybe outside of Higurashi, people would say stuff like Hellsing, but Hellsing has never been like that horrifying to me. It's just kind of like violent and grotesque in some ways. It's very mature, but this one is actually like scary. Summertime Render is like, take ReZero, which has a character who is able to loop through time. Like, he dies and then resets. Take that and give it a very Japanese summer countryside, not a very populated island kind of setting. The main character, Shinpei, goes to Wakayama, like a little island off of the coast of Wakayama, Japan. He goes there for a funeral of one of his childhood friends and then ends up getting wrapped in this whole murder mystery, supernatural things happening. You might be familiar with the fact that in Japan, summer is like the creepy time, whereas in the West, the creepy time is usually fall and Halloween. That's when a lot of scary movies like to take place. But in Japan, it's like summer nights in the countryside. That is the perfect Japanese horror setting, and Summertime Render just presents it so perfectly. There's not too much that I want to give you that's gonna just give away, because the first episode, watch the first episode till the end, and I was hooked. And also the animation is fantastic. I mean, we're talking really popular shonen anime levels of budget, or seemingly a big budget for this show. Man, I just hope we get more horror. I'm not a horror movie person by any means. Like, I don't like horror movies, but man, horror anime hits a lot differently, and Summertime Render revived my desire for more horror anime like it. Number 2 is, I always have to read it, Isekai Yakkyoku, which I ended up calling Isekai Pharmacy, but then I think the actual English is Parallel World Pharmacy instead of Isekai Pharmacy. So anyway, I call it Isekai Pharmacy. Oh my god, I love this show so much. Isekai can either be really, really good or really, really bad for me. Fortunately, I love this one, mostly because it has to do with a pharmacy, and I do love medical genres, and we don't really get a lot of like medical anime that like takes place in a hospital or has to do with pharmacies. I mean, we could say that there is a specific genre of anime that loves to go there, but we won't here on YouTube talk about that. You know where this is going. This is an isekai. You have a pharmacist or a doctor who basically gets overworked, dies, and then is reincarnated as a 10-year-old in this Middle Ages kind of, isekai, European world, you know the drill. We've all seen enough isekai to know exactly where these people are headed. But he still has the knowledge that he had when he was alive as a doctor in Japan, and he's born into a family that is already in the medical field. His father is a doctor, and he's actually able to use the knowledge that he already has to help people in this like middle age kind of environment. He already knows what is going to work as far as making medicine, and he already knows like, oh, what symptoms do you have? Oh, it's definitely this disease. So eventually he's able to, as a 10-year-old, open up a pharmacy, and he calls it Isekai Pharmacy. The show just continues to have people coming in for different medicines that they need for different conditions they have, and it's just so interesting to see the mix of problems that people had during that time, and then he, with his modern mind, can fix the problem faster than anyone else. I had a good time with this one. I was definitely surprised. Like, again, sometimes isekai hit or miss, but I really liked the spin on this one. And number one, honestly, I feel like this is gonna come at no surprise. This is a number one for a lot of people, and I'm no exception. Lycoris Recoil. Oh my god, this is definitely one of my probably new favorites of all time. Lycoris Recoil, if I just explain the synopsis, it won't be as grabbing if you actually watch it, because I think what's more important about Lycoris Recoil is its presentation and its script more than anything. Lycoris Recoil takes place in a Japan where terrorism is very low due to an organization that trains orphaned girls to be assassins, which sounds, fairly generic, but as I said, it's the presentation and the characters that make this show. One of the main characters, Takina, actually gets like downgraded as an assassin, or they call them Lycorises? Lycoris? A Lycoris. Is it Gosh, English is hard. See, in Japanese, there's like not really plurals. Like, Inu is dog, and Inu is also dogs, right? So it's like very annoying. Takina, one of the assassins, or Lycoris, actually gets demoted because of failure to follow orders in a mission. She gets put with another Lycoris named, I always call her Chitose because of Chitose Airport in Hokkaido, and I'm always there, but it's not Chitose, it's Chisato. Chisato. I always say Chitose. Chisato is like a Lycoris prodigy. She's very good at what she does. However, she doesn't want to kill anyone. She's against murdering people. But really what makes the show is the dynamic between Takina and Chisato. Chisato kind of takes Takina and kind of teaches her kind of what it is to be human and not just thinking about the job and being an assassin all the time. Like, really shows her what it's like to be a normal girl for the first time. And this is truly what makes the show, is the dynamic between those characters, and the script writing is so good. Like, the jokes that these girls make are so relatable, and it's so modern and just hilarious. I mean, don't take my word for it. Hideo Kojima has been seen around with his Lycoris Recoil shirt. He's tweeted about it. Come on, if he's recommending you an anime, you gotta watch it. It's just a great mix of memorable music, the opening and the ending song, especially the opening by Claris, one of my favorite Japanese groups, so that was a big sell for me. It made for an all-around really good anime experience, and god, I hope there's more. I think there's going to be a manga adaptation, but it is an original series, so I don't know if we will get more. I'm satisfied with the ending, but I just want to see more of those two girls so badly. There is my list of my personal top 5 favorite anime of the summer. There's so much anime that I didn't get to, unfortunately. Like, Call of the Night was a little bit hard for me to find to watch online, so I really want to get to Call of the Night. I didn't get to finish the second season of Rent a Girlfriend yet. Like, there's just so much. The Tokyo Mew Mew remake, like, there's so much I still need to watch, so I guess I'm gonna go do that. And I have to start fall anime. You know what everyone is excited for? There's one anime in fall that everyone is so excited for. It's like the big one, right? It's the big one. You know what I'm talking about. It's reincarnated as a sword. I love the manga. It's really cute. Okay, bye.